And we begin in our nation's capital, where every year at this time, lawmakers on the Hill get to hear from Georgia young farmers about the issues most concerning to them and to the ag industry in general. But given the state of our union, not to mention the political uncertainty in Washington, are those concerns really being heard, or are they falling on deaf ears? Well, recently, the Monitor tagged along to find the answer to those questions and others. Most agree today's young farmer faces many more challenges than any generation before them. This year alone, they're learning everything they can about EPA overreach, GMO labeling, protecting crop insurance, and TPP, otherwise known as the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Confusing? Absolutely. A deterrent from doing what they love? Absolutely not.
The thing that I'm quoted as saying is that I'm not doing any of this for me. I'm doing it for the future generations. And I think of my two sons at home that are 4 and 1.5, and I know that for them to be able to enjoy the same kind of agricultural pursuits that I have, I must be here. It's not a choice for me. It's something that I must do to try and help pave the way and allow them to enjoy the same opportunities that I've had.
Us being able to complain on the farm to other farmers and in meeting groups of that nature, that doesn't do anything. The only thing that actually brings what we need is being able to come into these offices and be able to bend a legislator's ear and tell them what's going on in our farm. A lot of times that they were talking about that they get Washingtonized. They're only in the city, and they don't get to realize what they're signing, what they're passing, and how it affects us on the daily practice. We're looked at, need to be looked at more as a small business and not as much as a farming enterprise or an operation. We're a business, and we are trying to do good for our family with our business.
And with that in mind, who better to have in your corner than two lawmakers who excelled in business long before even stepping foot in Washington? Talking, of course, about Georgia Senators Johnny Isakson and David Perdue. Senator Isakson telling me that those in agriculture who still feel their voice can't and won't make a difference, it's as simple as this.
In Washington, if you're out of sight, you're out of mind. You get regulated, you get taxed, and pretty soon you're out of business. But if you're in Washington articulating your issues, explaining to the policymakers like me what labeling means to agricultural products, what ag policy means to your farm, what it means to Georgia as our economy, then you're not out of sight, but you're in sight and you're not out of mind. You're in Washington, D.C., and you'll be treated right.
You know, I'll never forget the first time I came to Washington. I looked at it like, you know, what can I do as one individual? But, you know, in today and time, all the challenges that they have, and, you know, surveys just came out where one of the most critical, important issues facing agriculture, and particularly young farmers, are government regulations. And this is where they need to come. This is the place they need to come and be heard. Yes, they are only maybe one person, but it's very, very important. And the young farmers, as they are our future leaders, it's very important that we can get them to come up here and see what it's like. And normally, you get them to come one time, they're willing to come back.
And in some cases, numerous trips to Washington fighting for the good of agriculture can even result in someday being in charge of the largest general farm organization in the United States.
You know, they don't need to worry about how we get there and what we say. If they need to come, we'll make sure they get in front of the right people, and we'll make sure that we help them style their story in a way that can be most effective for them and the people that do the same things that they do at home. It is important for them to be outside their fence rows, involved in policy making that not only affects their life and their family's life, but their community and farmers and ranchers across this country.
And if you'd like to learn more about the major ag issues currently in front of lawmakers in Washington, D.C., you can do so by logging on to the American Farm Bureau website. That is www.fb.org.